or are you going to be full of faith? That's the way it goes. While all of Israel and their king was cowering in fear, there was a young man God had found a giant killer in. God always has a man for the hour, don't he? God always has a man for the time. He didn't come where many expected. Let me tell you, God also found a king there. Here's a message in itself. God didn't find his king in an inner palace. He found his king in a field. You think about it. Among his shepherds. God. But listen. Giant killers will always see the victory. While giant fearers will always see the defeat. I go back into the Old Testament again in Numbers chapter 13. Beginning in verse 31. But the men that went up with him said, we be not able to go up against the people, for they are stronger than we. And they brought up an evil report out of the land, which they had searched unto the children of Israel, saying, the land through which we have gone to search it, a land that eateth up the inhabitants thereof, and all the people that we saw in it are men of great stature. And there we saw giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers. So we were in their sight. The majority of the people, what did they see? They saw the problems. They saw the obstacles. They saw the defeat. They saw the no hope. Ain't that the way most people are today? They're pessimistic instead of believing. I'm telling you, God's looking for believers. God's looking for people who's going to see the victory. If they would have went back and remember what God told them, he told them a long time ago, before they got there, that he would drive the enemy out of the land. He said, I'll send a hornet to drive the inhabitants of the enemy out. But they forgot about it. And I think many times that's what many people today seen. They see how big, they see how bad it is. In the next minute, all they're doing is cowering in fear. They see how bad the report is from the doctor, and they're throwing the towel. They see all these things that's coming before them, and they say, woe, woe is me, we can't go no farther. Many times we see how small the church is and fail to look how big God is. I want to tell you, quit looking how small you are and look how big your God is. Yes, those people were bigger than them, but they were never bigger than the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Yes, the disease is greater than you, and the doctors may tell you you don't have a cure. But the great physician is still the great physician. Did you hear me? He's still the great I am. He ain't the great I was or I will be. He's the great I am. That means past, present, and future. Too many want to look at him as the I was, and he's still the I am. Amen? People don't want to believe in miracles no more. They don't want to believe God can do this. I wonder what in the world's wrong with you. If it wasn't for God, what hope would we have this morning? And I question these churches that don't say they don't believe in miracles no more. And you know without a shadow of a doubt there ain't no faith in there. Because if they don't believe without miracles, then they don't have faith in God. Amen? I'm telling you, I still believe in miracles. I still believe he does the impossible. I still believe he can take this few this morning and confine the world, don't you? But too many people are giant. They see how big it is. And they begin to fear. All they see is defeat. Quit looking at defeat and start seeing victory. Because if you see defeat, guess what? Guess what you're going to eat? Defeat. If all you see is being wiped out, you're going to be wiped out. I hear these people, be careful what you speak. I believe there's power of life and death in the tongue. If you keep talking negative, you're going to reap negative. You see, David, let me tell you something about him. I never heard the word defeat come out of his mouth. He said, God's going to put him in my hand. And God put him in his hand. Listen, too many people want to talk. Oh, it's over. Throw it in the towel. Throw it in. It's over. Yeah, you might as well if you got that attitude. If you don't believe the church ain't going to do nothing, you might as well shut the doors and go on out of it. They're giant fears. I'm telling you, but they were two that said, let us go and conquer this mountain at once. Joshua and Caleb, thank God there's still a few that still want to kill the giant this morning. Anybody else with me? Thank God that God's still got a few that's still full of faith. God's still got a few that don't see the obstacle, but see Jehovah God this morning. God's still got a people that's hanging on to Him this morning. Amen. I know that we're in a turmoil situation. I know this world is bad, but I know that where the sin abounds, the grace of God still abounds this morning. People don't want to. Giant killers will never remember the promises of God. They'll never remember those promises. Ain't it like some? Today they're always cowered in defeat. Throw in the towel. And they forget He is the Lord that healeth thee. They forget He is the Lord that provideth. They forget He is still Jehovah Jireh this morning. I'm telling you, we need to keep our eyes on Him this morning. We need to keep our eyes focused upon God, and we need to remember the promise of God. If God told you He'd be with you, guess what? He's going to be with you this morning. If God told you to fight in this battle, guess what? He's going to do the fighting for you. But too many people don't want to remember the promises of God. All they hear is the roar. All they see is the giants. And all of Israel. And all of Israel. There was only one that stood up and said, I'll fight the giant. I wonder how many of them this morning would say, I'll stand up and I'll fight this giant. Or how many are like Saul's army. And all they do is cower in defeat. Can I tell you what I believe was going on in Saul's army? I can tell you, if you get a bunch of men together, I believe this much. This is Jimmy right here. But I can tell you what happens when you get a bunch of men together. You're going to have somebody, if I could get my chance at him, I would sure do it. But Saul ain't going to let me do it. Can you see that now? Oh, I'd get a hold of them. Maybe some of them spitting. But deep down inside, why wasn't they going out to battle against him? There was probably a bunch of talkers in there, but few really to step up the action. They were talking the talk, but they wouldn't walking the walk. We'll knock that old boy down one day. I don't know, but I just know how many people are. I can tell you how many in the church are. We talk about what we need to do, but how many walk it? The words ain't no better than your actions. You talk about how you need to face the giant, but you ain't facing it. What good is it? David said, I ain't just going to talk it, but I'm going to show you how I'll face that thing. He wasn't scared one bit, I don't believe. He knew he had faith. He knew who was going to give him the victory. He said, nobody else would. You got to give it to David, don't you? Where are our Davids? Where are the ones that's going to say in this last day, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to get on my knees before God and I'm going to declare thus said the Lord. Where are the giant killers? But we got too many giant fears and not enough giant killers. I want some people in here that say, I want to kill the giant this morning. I got some people in here that says, I want to destroy the work of the devil this morning. Amen. I want to hear some people say, I'm not sitting back. I'm on the battlefield this morning. Anybody know what I'm talking about? Give us some giant killers this morning. Quit looking at the things which are seen, but look at the one that's unseen. That's what Paul told us in 2 Corinthians 4:18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Giants, was temporary. Everything you face on this earth is temporary. Did you hear me? I'm here temporary. You're here temporary. What are you talking about? This building ain't going to stand forever, is it? 200 years from now, it's going to be gone down, ain't it? If the Lord tarries that long. I don't believe He is. I'm not going to be on this earth forever. Cancer's not forever, is it? If you're a child of God this morning. Disease is not forever if you're a child of God this morning. The giant's not forever, is it? We ain't going to have to put up with this devil for eternity if we're His child, ain't we? That's a good thing. We all have to put up with Him for a short season. Then we're going to be caught up in His glory one day, and God's going to take care of Him. God's already got His future of the devil abound. But I'll tell you one that is forever is Jesus Christ. Let me tell you, He is forever. We need to keep our eyes on Him. If we keep our eyes on Him, if we bow before Him, we can stand before any man. Did you hear that again? If you bow before Him, you can stand before any man. I believe David was a man who bowed before God, and that's what made him be able to stand before Goliath. What would happen if people would bow before God again? What would happen if the church fell on their knees and begin to bow? We could stand up down there at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We may not be able to get through the gates, I doubt it. But we could sure get a megaphone and declare, thus said the Lord, couldn't we? But listen, too many people, if he would come in somewhere like that, they wouldn't tell him he needed to repent. All they would say is, how you doing? I wished he would. I wished half of them would show up, because they need to hear the word of the Lord again. But I'm telling you, too many people are scared. Too many people are afraid. We ain't going to never win this world. How many want to conquer this town? How many want to get this whole area right here? How do we do it? We don't do it in cowardice and in fear. We do it in faith, marching forth. There's some big giants in this little town, ain't there? But every giant that comes our way is a nothing we can knock down. You know, David picked up one stone. He used one, but he had four more, because Goliath had some relatives on down the road, didn't he? How many know there's going to be some relatives? You may knock one down in your life, but there's more you're going to have to face, ain't there? The whole time I'm telling you, the same stone that brought that down will be the same stones that'll knock them others down. The same Jesus that gave you victory in one will be the same Jesus that'll knock everything else down that comes your way. I don't know about you, but I've faced some obstacles over my time. And the reason I'm standing right here is because of the grace of God giving me the victory. You got to stand. You can't run, and I'm getting ready to jumping ahead a little bit. But I'm telling you, too many people are looking at everything else, and they're not looking at the hand of God this morning. They're not looking at Jesus Christ this morning. They're looking at the problems and not looking towards the King. They're looking at their issues more than they're looking towards their solution. Amen. Too many people want to look at their issues, what the issues is and how big it is, and they fail to see the problem solver. Let me tell you this morning, not only that, the giant killer had to confront why the giant fear hides. Stated earlier, Saul and his men did not want to do a thing about it. Maybe they talked a big talk behind their beards. I don't know. That was just Jimmy. But they were giant fears. Because if they were giant killers, first moment he said something, Saul would have said, bring it on. Bring it on. If you man it up, bring it on. I've got the hand of God behind me. Well, they were fearing him. Many in the church today are hiding from battling the enemy. Uh-oh. God didn't call us to be complacent. Here's the thing. Too much complacent Christianity. Satan ain't going to get mad if you're coming through here going through the motions. You ain't doing a thing to him. You're just sitting here doing this,